travelers to Midnight Atlas.
Have you ever, looked at something totally ordinary, like an old toy, and just felt something weird, like it has a story? What if that feeling, that story, grew over time, maybe tied to strange things happening around it? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. We're talking about Robert the doll. He's this famously haunted doll from Key West, Florida, and his legend. It's been around for, over a century now. And this isn't just going to be telling ghost stories. We really want to unpack Robert's whole journey. We'll look at historical bits, local legends, what the museum says. Basically, we want to figure out, where did this legend even start? What supposedly happened? And why are people still so fascinated, even kind of scared by this doll today? That's our mission here. Okay, so let's unpack Robert's story right from the beginning. First off, what are we actually picturing? He's pretty big for a doll, right? Like 40 inches tall, stuffed with wood wool, Excelsior they call it. And he wears that famous little sailor suit, which apparently is probably an actual outfit worn by his first owner, Robert Eugene Otto, as a kid. Oh, his face too. People say it's kind of like a jester's face, painted features.
Yeah, and right off the bat, his origin is murky. There are these two main stories, and they're pretty different. One version, the more straightforward, I guess, says he was made by Steiff, the German company.
Oh, Steiff, right, like the teddy bears.
Exactly. And that Otto's grandfather bought him in Germany back in 1904. A birthday gift for young Robert Eugene Otto. Seems normal enough.
But there's another story.
There's this much darker version. It claims Robert was a gift to young Otto from a girl described as being of Bahamian descent. And the twist is, it might not have been a friendly gift, maybe retaliation for wrongdoing, is the phrase used.
Retaliation. So implying voodoo.
That's the implication, yeah. Whether it's true or not, it definitely adds this layer of potential malice right from the start. Totally different vibe than a stuffed toy from Grandpa.
Wow, okay. So quite a contrast there. But however he showed up, the boy, Robert Eugene Otto, and the doll, they became linked immediately.
Inseparable. Apparently the boy started going by his middle name, Gene, so the doll could be Robert, to avoid confusion.
He gave the doll his own name.
Yep. And they were like best friends. That's how it's always described initially.
Okay, best friends. But this intense bond, that's kind of where the weirdness starts to creep in, isn't it?
It seems to be the key, yeah. Both the legends and what trickled down through the family mention this, like a huge amount of emotional energy being focused on the doll. He wasn't just, a passive toy. He was treated like a real companion, almost like another person, maybe even a scapegoat sometimes.
Right. And they say that focus, that energy, that's what sort of woke something up.
That's the idea in the folklore, definitely. It's often framed as the starting point for all the strange stuff.
Okay, so intense bond established. Then what? When did things get noticeably weird for the parents, for the Otto household? What were those first signs?
Well, the first big thing reported was Gene having conversations in his room. But his parents heard two voices.
Two distinct voices.
Yeah. And when they asked Gene who he was talking to, he'd always just say, Robert.
Bro, Robert. Okay. Creepy.
And then things escalated. Toys in Gene's room would be found broken, mutilated even, furniture overturned. And Gene would be there, scared, but pointing the finger. Always the same explanation. Robert did it.
Robert did it. Wow. Every single time.
That's the account. This chillingly consistent Robert did it.
That's genuinely unsettling. And wasn't it just inside the house either? Didn't outsiders start noticing things?
Exactly. That is another. Neighbors, visitors too, apparently claimed they saw Robert moving, like from window to window.
Moving on his own, when the family wasn't even there.
That's the claim. Yeah, when the house was supposedly empty, which, if true, is harder to just brush off as a kid's imagination.
Yeah, you can explain away a kid blaming a toy, maybe.
Right.
But neighbors seeing him move, that's different.
And the folklore really leans into this idea that Gene constantly blaming Robert actually, activated the doll's powers.
Triggered something supernatural.
That's the story. But you could also see it as, the start of the legend building. The story gets told, repeated, maybe exaggerated. Fear and belief start to give it power.
Whether it was real magic or just powerful storytelling, those first incidents really cemented Robert's spooky reputation.
Absolutely. He wasn't just Gene's toy anymore. He was Robert, the one who did things.
Okay, so Gene grows up. Does he grow out of Robert? Or does this connection continue?
It definitely continued. Gene apparently stayed incredibly attached to Robert, way past childhood.
Yeah.
And this understandably worried his family. And later his wife, Ann Parker.
His wife wasn't a fan?
Not at all, from what accounts say. So after Gene's parents died, Gene and Ann actually moved back into that childhood home, 534 Eaton Street. It's called the Artist House now.
Back to the scene of the crime, so to speak.
Yeah. And despite Ann really not liking the doll, Gene insisted Robert needed his own space.
His own room.
Yep, his own room up in the attic.
The attic. Oh, classic horror movie trope right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert's in the attic. Did things calm down or ramp up?
Oh, they seem to ramp up significantly during this period. The reports get even more direct, more unnerving.
Like what?
Well, people working in the house, like plumbers or other workmen, reported hearing things from the attic when nobody was supposed to be up there.
What kind of things?
Footsteps.
And giggling.
Giggling. Okay, nope. That's pure nightmare fuel.
Right. And some people even claim they saw Robert's face change expression right in front of them. Or that his eyes would blink.
Wait, blinking eyes? On the doll itself?
That's the claim. Not just sounds now, but like physical changes to the doll.
Okay, that's a whole other level of creepy. Were these reports coming from different people who didn't necessarily know the whole backstory?
Seems like it, yeah. Which adds to the strangeness of it all. And Anne, Gene's wife, she reportedly hated and feared the doll. Eventually, she'd had enough.
She put her foot down.
She insisted Robert be locked away. Permanently. Back up in the attic, but locked up this time because of all the weird activity. Can't blame her, really. So Robert's locked away, but then Gene passed away in 74, and Anne just 2 years later, right, 1976. What happened to Robert then? Did he stay locked up?
Well, after Anne died, she sold the house. And the story goes she left Robert there in the attic.
Just left him.
Yep. But apparently, she warned the new owners, told them the doll was haunted.
Seriously, a warning with the house sale.
So the story goes, then a woman named Myrtle Rader bought the house in 1974, actually before Anne died, it seems. She found Robert and ended up keeping him for 20 years.
20 years? Was she okay with him?
Well, Myrtle also claimed he moved around on his own. She even took him with her when she moved to a different street later on. But here's where it gets really weird again.
Go on.
The family that moved into the original Otto house on Eaton Street after Myrtle and Robert left. They had a young daughter, about 10 years old.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She started experiencing things too. Said Robert would move around her room at night, even claimed he tried to attack her.
Attack her? The doll?
That was her claim. And the family reported hearing the giggling, the footsteps for years. It was like the phenomenon wasn't just tied to Gene or Myrtle, but to Robert himself, or maybe that house.
Wow. So the experiences kept going, even with different people. That really strengthens the idea that Robert himself is the focal point. How did he end up in a museum?
So Myrtle Reuter, after having him for those 2 decades, she donated him in 1994 to the Fort East Martilla Museum there in Key West.
And what reason did she give?
Same story. She claimed he moved around her house on his own, flat out said he was haunted. And kind of eerily, Myrtle passed away just a few months after donating him.
Wow. Okay, so Robert moves into the museum. End of story. Things calm down.
Not quite. Museum staff started noticing things pretty quickly. They talked about a shift of energies once he arrived.
Oh, like what? Still moving around.
Well, maybe not quite as overtly, but electronics act up around him. Cameras, other devices just malfunction. Staff have heard weird noises near his display. And yeah, some have reported finding him in slightly different positions than how they left him overnight. Subtle stuff, but persistent.
Huh. Still making his presence felt, even behind glass. It's fascinating how this led to actual rules for visitors, isn't it? You have to be respectful, and you're supposed to ask his permission before taking a picture, is that right?
That's the rule.
Yeah.
You have to ask Robert first. It's this amazing mix of genuine folklore belief and maybe practical crowd control for a popular exhibit.
Ask the doll for permission.
Okay.
And if you don't...
Well, that's where the curse comes in.
Yeah.
And the post-visit misfortunes.
The curse of Robert the doll. What kind of misfortunes are we talking about?
Oh, the local legends attribute all sorts of things to disrespecting Robert. Car accidents, broken bones, losing your job, divorce. Just a whole mess of bad luck.
Seriously, divorce.
A cornucopia of other misfortunes, as one source puts it. And visitors who supposedly ignore the rules, especially taking photos without asking, they report experiencing similar bad luck after leaving.
Wow. And people genuinely believe this? Enough to
write letters. This is maybe the most incredible part. The museum has received hundreds, literally hundreds of apology letters addressed to Robert.
Apology letters. To the doll.
Yes, from people all over the world. Begging Robert for forgiveness, asking him to lift the curse,
because something bad happened after their visit. Those letters are actually part of the exhibit now.
That's incredible. Seeing those letters must be chilling. It shows just how far this legend has spread, how deeply it affects people. He's not just a Key West story anymore.
Not at all. He's a genuine pop culture figure now. He's traveled too.
He left Key West.
Yep. He was exhibited at TAPSCon. That's a paranormal convention in Florida back in 2008. First time he'd left Key West to over 100 years, apparently. Big deal.
Wow. Where else?
He went to Vegas for a TV show, Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. That aired a few years back.
Of course, Zach Bagans. Makes sense.
And then there were the movies. An entire horror franchise basically kicked off by him. Started with a film just called Robert in 2015.
There are sequels?
Oh, yeah. 4 sequels. The Curse of Robert the Doll, The Toymaker, The Legend of Robert the Doll, Robert Reborn. They really ran with it.
That's a lot of Robert movies.
Mm-hmm. Plus, he popped up on Ozzy Osbourne's show with his son, Jack, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour. And he was featured on the Lore podcast and TV series, too. His story just keeps finding new audiences.
It really does. What an absolutely wild ride for, at the end of the day, 100-plus-year-old doll. From a kid's toy, maybe from Germany, maybe not, to this figure locked in an attic, then passed around, now a museum star and a horror icon. It's quite the biography.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is it about things like Robert? Why do they grab hold of our imagination like this, even cause genuine fear? Is it possible there's something truly supernatural going on? Or is it more about the power of suggestion, the stories we tell ourselves, building this collective belief over decades? Or maybe it's both somehow.
It's a fascinating question. It really makes you think about the energy we put into objects, the stories we attach to them. Does that say more about the object or about us? Our own fears, our need for explanations? How much of Robert's power comes just from the sheer weight of his story told and retold? And if belief can shape reality, well, what does that mean for a legend like Robert the Doll? Makes you think, doesn't it?
You have been listening to Midnight Atlas. For more journeys into the unknown, be sure to follow or subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Until our next journey, stay curious.